recording button, and I've hit it. I am so excited. I know so much is going on in the world right now and in your lives. Like, it might just be that it's spring break wherever you are, or maybe you actually have kids now home if you're in Ontario for at least 3 weeks. Maybe you are just swamped with winter, or maybe your mind is getting full of what's going on. But this is such a perfect opportunity for us to breathe, calm those waters, and really dial into this call, because we have a super special guest, the incredible Josh Coates. And I'm going to give you an intro, and then I'm going to let you take it away, because I want to soak out every minute of what you have to offer for us, Josh. And I know everyone's really busy, but you know, if you haven't heard of Josh, I know most of you guys have, but you know, he is known as a push coach. He is an extreme motivator, helps you push through those limiting beliefs. He is a new author of a brand new, I guess it's pretty brand new, isn't it, book? I'm like, after this, I'm going to go order it. I'm very excited. He has a great, like, 5-day, yes, there it is, the 5-day mindset free course. And I worked with Josh the 4th year I went elite. Michelle worked with Josh last year when she went premier. You know, this guy, I mean, we're just two of many that I know you have really made a huge impact with and help really push through those limiting beliefs. And I know the first time I heard you speak, Josh, was at Summit a couple years ago the first time we were in New Orleans. And that's what struck me so much, is every time you talked, I was like, it took me down a path deeper into my gut where I was like, oh yeah, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to live from, work from, drive from. So I'm excited that you guys all get to have a taste of that today. It's really, really special that we get that. Thank you for your time, and take it away.
Well, thanks, Bria. I appreciate it so much. I love Bria so much. She's one of my old school, one of my OGs, one of my gangsters, and I appreciate being here so much. Michelle, always good to see you. I'm sure many others of you have either been around long enough that you're an old buddy of mine too, or maybe you're new and you have no idea who I am, and that's completely okay too, because today I want to teach you my favorite thing in the world to talk about, and that is the success formula. The success formula, I believe, is how you measure where you're at and why you're not further. Have you ever in your business just been like, yo, homie, tell me what to do. Tell me where I'm stuck. I want to know. You feel like you're doing all the things. You're getting on 13 national wake-up calls per week. You're getting on team calls, push group calls. You're reading 7,000 books, and you're just like, what's the missing piece for me? And so when I first started, my first couple of years, I remember me as well as several other people, it was always do more work. Like, do more work. If you're not seeing success, do more work. It was kind of this natural assumption that if you weren't seeing the success we were seeing, you weren't working as hard as we were working. And that's what I taught for a couple of years. And then through running the small group mastermind a couple of years ago, I started realizing there's some homies out there that are doing the work, but they've got some other issues going on. And if we don't address those issues, it doesn't matter how much more work you do, it doesn't work. I learned in my life coaching certification that belief drives behavior. And that belief will either hold you back from the behavior or will sabotage the behavior you're doing. But at the end of the day, what you really, truly believe is the thing you'll ultimately manifest. Whether you manifest it by doing nothing so that you get the thing you feared by default, or whether you end up getting it because even though you were checking off the boxes and doing the work, somewhere in there, even if you copy and pasted Bria's scripts, somewhere in there you found a way to sabotage. You added 7 extra question marks instead of exclamation marks. Maybe in your posts, you were adding question marks instead. But at some point, you were finding a way to sabotage it. So for me, this formula is the most complete way to find out where you're stuck, why you're stuck. But I want you to understand it doesn't just apply to one area of life or business, any area of your business and really life that you're stuck. I got some girls on here, like maybe you're new and you're like, homie, I don't even feel great about posting on social media yet. Like, I don't even apply this formula to that. If you're like, yo, I'm trying to hit Success Club, I'm trying to just get people to say yes and actually, submit the share a cart, not just ask for one, apply this formula to that. If you're trying to recruit people, you say, yo, I got challengers coming in like crazy, but I can't recruit nobody, apply this. If you were trying to lead a team, and you're like, I cannot get anybody to come with me for nothing. Apply this to your leadership, but wherever you're at, it works. So I want you to write this down. You guys ready to take notes? So when I do calls, we do these things called jazz fingers because you're muted. I can't hear from you. So you just show me some jazzies if you're like, yep, I got you, homie, or oh my God, that blew my mind. Anything you would normally want to say out loud in a really loud church like what I grew up in, where it was like, amen, brother, keep preaching. Just show me some jazzies instead, okay? So consistency plus intensity plus worth plus time. That's the formula. Consistency plus intensity plus worth plus time. And I want to take you through each one of these things so that you can try to figure out which one am I stuck at. And for some of you, you might be missing the whole formula, or you might be missing a couple pieces of the formula, or you might be getting most of the formula, but you just need to take it from a 5 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10, okay? So number one is consistency. I want you to write next to consistency, doing the right things. Doing the right things. And I want you to like circle the word right. I want you to like underline it 7 times. I want you to like highlight it pink, purple, green, blue, yellow, whatever colors you got, okay? Because doing the right things is completely different than just doing the things. Some of you actually work more hours than what is necessary because you never get around to the right things. And so all day long, you're still trying to calculate in your head how much work you still have left to do. And because you never did the right things, it's an ongoing list all day, all night. You're on your phone, checking notifications, trying to cook dinner, checking into messages. And all day and night, you are just consumed. And you get this thing I call fog brain. Fog brain is when nothing in life makes sense. You aren't efficient at anything you do because you're trying to take care of kids, have a relationship with your spouse. You're trying to do all these things and keep a running tab in your head of what work still needs to be done. And none of us are amazing enough to run a business in the back of our head while also trying to have relationships with other humans. What it ends up doing is you give your worst to the humans in your life and your business. Everybody loses. Your relationships suck and your business sucks. And I always say it's like one thing to be exhausted and get really good paydays. It's another thing to be exhausted and not even make money for it. So I need you to get out of your mind that you need to work all day and night. I tell my clients, yo, do my tracker, take your phone and your laptop, go hide it in the closet and lock the door, okay? Go be a human being, enjoy time with your family once you do the right thing. But the problem is, if you don't do the right things, you never get to do that. And then you come to Bria and you're like, I think I need to take a step back. It's just, this business is so overwhelming. I never have time for my family anymore. It's just, my kids are always like, you're always on your phone, Mom. And you start blaming this business for your irresponsibility. I want you to imagine you being stupid enough to go to the gym 3 hours per day and then being like, I just don't have time to be healthy anymore. It's taken over my life. I'm a worse mom. Now, none of you are stupid enough to do that because you know 3 hours at the gym is actually worse for your body than it is good for your body, correct? You know there's a sweet spot, okay? There's a sweet spot. For me, it's like 40 to 55 minutes, anything past 55 minutes. And I'm just doing it for the sake of feeling like I'm getting healthier, but I'm actually destroying my body because when I take 2 scoops of Energize, I bring the heat for 55 minutes. And anything past that is just exhausting and depleting my body, not actually anything that I can reuse. You get what I'm saying? Your business is the same, okay? There's a sweet spot. Okay. And for me, I believe it's 2 to 5 hours for anyone at any stage. Anything past 5 hours, you're just checking notifications and running circles in your head and being an idiot. Like you're not actually doing anything that makes you money. You're just feeling like you work harder, putting a hard work badge on. So you can be like, look at me, I work harder than everybody else. No, you don't. You scroll the internet just like everyone else. You were just stupid enough to think you should get paid for it. Okay, so you have to do the right things. And like, let's just keep it simple, guys. The vital behaviors is the right things. Like, if you aren't doing invites, I'm sorry. If you aren't doing invites, please stop making rap videos on your stories. Okay. If you're not doing invites, just stop even pretending to be a Beachbody coach. And I say that in the kindest way possible. I love you to death and I believe in you. But guys, I'm just real with people. Like, I don't like to pretend. Either I'm building a business or I'm not. And I think that you do your family a disservice when you tell them you're building a business when in reality, you're not doing anything that would get you paid. To me, that's lying to your family. I don't like to lie to my family. I really, really like to be honest with them. So if I'm going to tell them I have a business, I need to have a business. And if I don't make sales, I don't have a business, do I? Does anybody ever watch Arrested Development? One of the funniest shows in the world. It's basically a family that made a whole bunch of money with this real estate business, and then the dad got in trouble for basically breaking tax laws and embezzling money and all this stuff. So he's in prison, and they're trying to keep the business together. And it's just hilarious to me because they don't actually have a business. What they have is a model house that they built and they all live in. All the kids are adults and they don't even know how to do life because they've grown up spoiled, kind of like the kids on Schitt's Creek. And they live in this model house, okay? All of the property around them that was supposed to be the neighborhood they were building is just cleared ground. It's been like 5 years and they still haven't built a single house. All they have is a model house. And yet every single day they show up in an office where they have like 30 employees and they have business strategic like plans. They have like manager meetings, and every single time the opening happens where they show the model house sitting in just like a big plot of land where nothing, I just laugh so hard and I'm like, they don't actually have a business. They just have a model house. That's it. And that's what most Beachbody coaches' businesses look like. You got the model house, you like went through branding training, avatar training. You got like an official logo that you paid $100 for. You got like a free community. You got Instagram stories. You probably got a like page. You got a YouTube channel. Tomorrow you're starting a podcast, but you don't actually sell products. And that means you don't really have a business. And the only way to sell products is to go talk to human beings. Because if you don't, I'm gonna be real straight with you, because I know if you do Beachbody, it's usually because you care about others and you have a servant's heart and you want to help people. If you don't send invites, you have the cure to most people's cancer and you just weren't willing to offer it. Our whole world full of people depressed. Anybody remember what you were like in your before picture? Anybody remember your before picture? The whole world is stuck in your before picture. And here you are with the path to the after picture, but you're not sharing it because you're afraid of what somebody on Facebook or Instagram thinks about you. And I need you to remember that you owe it to them to share the recipe for success, even if it offends them. You got me? Are we good on this one? Okay, then I'll stop beating this dead horse. We'll move on to number 2, which is intensity. One of my favorite things in the world to talk about, because I like to think it's my middle name. Intensity. So if consistency is doing the right actions, intensity is bringing the right energy. If you don't bring the right energy, all of the actions in the world will not matter. Our energy is our greatest weapon on social media. It's our greatest weapon in person-to-person sales. It is our greatest weapon. John Maxwell says that leaders are dealers in hope. I love that. I love that quote so much. Leaders are dealers in hope. And I'm always telling my Push Elite girls, hey, If we are dealing hope, we better smoke more of it than anybody else. Like, that's the number one rule to being a drug dealer is you got to do more drugs than anybody else, right? Like, the only reason you're a drug dealer is because you wanted the discount. Like, no one becomes a drug dealer who doesn't do, you ever met a sober guy who's a drug dealer? No, you have not. That doesn't happen. Not like I've met a bunch of drug dealers, but I mean, I've seen the movie Friday, so I know what it's like, okay? So you have to be doing the drugs you're dealing. If people cannot feel something, I want you to understand something. Even your before and after pictures, okay? Even though they bring a lot of attention and they get people to stop and think, it's not that anybody cares as much about looking like you as they do feeling like you. Nobody cares quite as much about looking like a skinny girl as they do feeling like they're confident, feeling like they're healthy, feeling like they could go play on the playground with the kids, feeling like they could walk into Target right now, try on any pair of jeans they want and feel like a badass. That's what people want. They want to feel something. Everything we do in life is governed by just trying to feel better. It's one of the reasons business is so hard, because we have to rewire ourselves not to do the thing that just feels better, right? Same with fitness. You had to rewire yourself to go, okay, Ben and Jerry every single night at 11:30 p.m. sounds amazing. It feels good every night. There's never a night that Ben and Jerry don't feel good. But I have to tonight make a healthy decision and maybe make that cookies and cream Shakeology recipe that Carl posted the other day. Like, I got to rewire myself, right? But everybody that you are trying to sell to makes an emotional decision to sign up, not a logical decision. I'm reading this book that I love so much. It's called Expert Secrets. And he said, the funny thing about sales is every single one of us bought for an emotional reason. It's after you buy that you go start collecting all of the logical evidence for why it was a good choice. Is anyone ever, I swear, every single time someone tells me they got a new pair of jeans or a new pair of shoes or a new car, they always, I don't know if you've noticed this, they always follow it up by letting you know they got a good deal. Why is that? Why are we so obsessed with letting people know we got a good deal? Because we're trying to put together enough logic to feel better about the irrational decision we made. If we can collect enough logic, in other words, we're constantly selling to ourselves that it wasn't a bad purchase, correct? So here's the thing. You signed up, you bought into a challenge group or coaching because of Bria or whoever your upline is, or shoot, maybe you just signed up online because of an infomercial and you got like assigned to someone here. However it worked, you signed up because you felt an emotional connection to the person you were following in their journey. And then after you signed up, you knew your husband just wasn't going to get it. Yeah, but Bria, you don't understand. She's cute and she's fun and she's hilarious and I just love her style. And none of that shit's going to sell your husband, right? So you had to get logical. You were like, well, it has 75 superfoods in it and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Also, 9 times out of 10, according to Consumer Reports, people are proven to get, and you start throwing out all this bullshit that, let's be real, none of us really care about, but you needed something to justify the purchase you made. Now, here's what he talks about in the book. If we're not careful, we try to use the evidence that we came up with to convince ourselves and our significant other, and we try to use that to sell other people, when in reality, that never sold you. The thing that sold you was the emotional connection. Nobody cares that you got 75 superfoods in your food. I'm gonna be real honest. The average human being in modern day doesn't care about putting superfoods in their body. They want to look better and feel better and rock their bikini or their tank top or their skinny jeans. None of them care how many there's no one sitting around. I want you to imagine this, is there's no one right now that isn't already healthy. sitting around going, how do I get more superfoods in my diet today? You know, I bought a salad and I mixed in some acai and I mixed in some, but I mixed in some go-go, some goju. I can't even pronounce the words on the back of the shake. I mixed in, but some Shakira. I don't know if is that a singer or a superfood. I don't know. I mixed in all, but I was just wondering, is there an easier way to get 75 superfoods in my salad? Nobody's thinking like that. People are thinking, how do I finally find a way? I've tried 100,000 things and none of them have worked. How do I finally find a way to lose weight and feel the way I want to feel? And so they need to feel something from you. What was Bria talking about that she connected to me? Was it my testimonials? What was it? How many top 10 coaches I had worked with? Or was it her sitting in the audience at an event I spoke for and feeling some type of connection? This is why I'm so big on every team call I get on. I bring my A++++++ game on every call. If I have the worst headache in the world, I will chug 2 scoops of Energize, hop on the call, bring my A game, and take a nap afterwards. Because I understand if you don't feel something, we ain't got nothing. Why the hell are you going to keep listening to me for an hour? I mean, I do go longer than anyone else in the world for a team call. You ain't going to listen to that shit unless I'm bringing my A game. You're on social media. And while I do not believe in the whole, oh no, it's overcrowded by Beachbody coaches, I think that part's bullshit. But it is a busy feed. And it's full of lots of different things. And if you're going to stand out, man, you better have a big, huge smile on your face and you better be passionate and excited about what you're doing. Does that make sense? You got me? Okay. Number 3 is worth. Now, for worth, I want you to write the word in all caps and I want you to put parentheses around it. Because to me, worth is the only given part of the formula. Like, let's be real. Doing the right things every day, that's work. Because the right things aren't always the things we want to do. Like, let's be real. If we could get paid to check our notifications instead of asking people to join us, we would take that job in a second. Bringing the right energy, that's work. Sometimes we get hater messages that deflate us. Sometimes we sign up the girl that promised she was going to be our next rock star, and within 24 hours, she's canceled, blocked you on Instagram and Facebook, and like you're about to put a picture of her on a milk carton because you don't know where the hell she went. Like 24 hours, she went from being the next best thing, watching 35 onboarding calls, and then boom, gone. So it's tough to bring the right energy, because you don't know what you're going to get in return. And it's a constant, I'm going to sow, and trust that it will come back, right? But worth, I need you to understand, it's the given part of the formula that we constantly give up. Worth, I believe, is our birthright. Is there anyone on this call? I know I got some Canadians that are going to roll with me on this one. Is there anybody on the call that believes in human equality? Show me a little something. Now, I got to be real, like in the United States, we're not everybody's down with that. But I think in our hearts, we really are. I think in our hearts, we really all believe that every single human was created equal. Now, if I'm going to believe in equality and that anyone, regardless of gender, regardless of race or ethnicity, regardless of anything else, if all of us are created equal, I have to believe it about myself too. And I think one of the hardest things for us, if you joined this company, let's be real, we're all people pleasers. We are. I talk about this in my book. We're either people pleasers or people saviors, and sometimes both. We're either one, trying to make everybody else happy, because if you've done the Enneagram, we got a lot of 2s, and 2s are all about serve, 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 serve. Give. I mean, think about every Beachbody coach story you've heard. I was the girl I was all wrapped up in being the wife, being the mom, taking care of everybody else. And as a result, I was 20 pounds overweight and I was unhappy and I was depressed. And I finally found through Beachbody that I could put myself first. And as a result, I found my confidence. I found my security. All of this is because we're people pleasers. In other words, we get our happiness from making other people happy. And that can be the biggest blessing. But as I always say, our greatest strength is always our greatest weakness. So it can also be the biggest curse. It's a huge blessing because it means we really are good-hearted people and we really want what's best for other people. Okay. But it's a curse because sometimes we believe in others more than we believe in ourselves. We see the good in everybody else. We see the flaws in ourselves. We can look at anyone in the world and be like, girl, I believe in you. Yeah, but I don't have this. It doesn't matter. You can do this. And we will be like, I believe in you. We will cheer them on to the ends of the earth. And it doesn't matter how many times they fail. It doesn't matter how many times they screw up. We don't care. We believe in people. But then these same people get on a coaching call with me. Josh, I don't know if I'm good enough of a leader. Josh, I'm not outgoing. Or how about this one? I had this one on a call yesterday. I don't really have a story. She started telling me about her life. It's funny, people will tell you they don't have a story and then proceed to tell you their story. And one of the things I teach in my art of recruiting is you do not need to have a more exciting story than everyone else. You just have to be more excited about your story than anyone else. None of us have that good of a, I mean, I'm real good at making my story super dramatic. That's just because I'm a good storyteller and I love my story because it's my life. You got to learn to love you first. And you got to learn, John Maxwell taught me this really, really, really valuable lesson when I signed up. He said, don't wait till you're certified. Don't wait till you know what you're doing. Take what you're learning and just go do it. Just go practice. John Maxwell gave me permission to go coach people before I could officially say I was certified. Do you know that I had a business making $20,000 a month before I ever had the word certified next to my name? And that's not because I was a quick starter. My whole first year, I only made $500. Whole first year, 2 clients total. Whole first year, I did not hit Success Club for the year, guys. 2 sales in a whole freaking year. But John Maxwell taught me this valuable lesson. You just keep practicing, you just keep failing, and every single failure becomes the lesson you learn to eventually get you where you want to be. And as a result, my only goal my first year was to fail as many times as I possibly could because I knew I had a lot of lessons I needed to learn because I sucked real bad. And so I removed my own personal worth from the equation of what it takes to succeed. And I just realized my worth is built into the equation. It is a solid, permanent part that no one can take away. Anybody on this call have kiddos? Anybody got kids? Now, tell me this. Have your kids ever disobeyed? I'm gonna throw up like 30 hands. Can I borrow some of your guys' hands? I got a 14-year-old and 11-year-old. My God. Have your kids ever been like, let's just be real here. I love them to death, but have your kids ever just been an asshole? I'm gonna throw up again, another 30 hands. Got a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. I mean, of course, my 8-year-old and my 3-year-old do some things wrong, but you just don't notice as much when they're still young and adorable. The older they get, the more you notice. It's not cute anymore, okay, buddy? You're 14 years old. Like, grow up at some point, right? However, how many of you can say, Josh, even though my kids backtalk me sometimes, even though they make life hard on me sometimes, even though they're little assholes sometimes, I would still jump in front of a bullet for them, and I would still run into a burning building for them. Anybody else? That tells me that their worth is not dependent on their actions, what they have or haven't done. When they were born to you, you set a price of worthless, and nothing in the world will ever change that. I need you to remember that about yourself. When you were born into this world, you had the price put on you of priceless. You were flawless. And I kind of teach on this in my 5-day mindset challenge about how we're a 3-part being, and we have a heart, a head, and a body. And in our heart, I believe that is the spiritual part of us. I believe it is the eternal part of us. I believe that it is our true self. Okay? This is who we were born into the world to be. But our head is more of our machine. Okay? It's not good or bad. It's just something you can program to be whatever you want it to be. It was put there to protect us and help us perform. And unfortunately, because there's just not enough personal growth in this world, a lot of times our head has been programmed our entire life to protect us from growth and to perform negativity, drama, scarcity. In other words, we programmed this guy wrong. And I need you to understand that when you look at your life and when you see how screwed up you are, because let's be real, we all know that about ourselves, that is not in any way an expression of your heart. That is just a wrong programming of your head. And really, life and true success, I believe, is just reprogramming your head to line up with your heart. When people tell me, Josh, I don't think I'm a very good leader, you know how I get to their heart? I ask them simple questions. What's your definition of a leader? When I ask questions, it forces them to leave their head, because their head doesn't honestly know the answer, and go to their heart. And they start saying, well, I think a leader is someone who cares about people. I think it's someone who works hard for what they believe in. I think they're disciplined. I think they lead from the front. Okay, so your heart's definition had nothing to do with an Instagram following. Your heart's definition had nothing to do with how many current people were actually on your team or working. Your heart's definition, notice, was all character traits. So what is it about you not being outgoing that keeps you from doing what you believe in? See, we make up these stories in our head to try to protect us from the path of growth, because our entire life we've avoided the path of growth. And the society we live in is constantly promoting to avoid the path of growth. Hence, take this pill and in 2 days, you'll be all better. If you just mix this with your water, you can keep eating whatever you want and you'll just lose weight. Our society is constantly putting in front of us the path of least resistance, and growth always goes against that. And so what we have to realize is that my worth is golden. There is absolutely nothing wrong with me, even if some of the stuff in my life is screwed up. Me in my heart am perfect. And the same way I see my kids is the way I have to start seeing myself. Because if I don't, it will be almost impossible to be consistent long enough to get the results. And it will be almost impossible to show up with the kind of energy it takes to get the results. In other words, our worth is essentially like the foundation and the core of what manifests all of the other things we need to do to have success. And without it, guys, we're in a lot of trouble. And that's why I believe in personal growth so much. That's why I love personal growth, because it has retrained this guy to be in alignment with my heart, instead of just chasing after the next quick fix or the next good feeling or the next thing that makes me happy right now. I've learned to adjust. I had a friend who was struggling with some depression, and he was just like, maybe if I did this, it'd make me happy. Maybe if I did this. I was like, bro, You gotta stop looking for the thing that's gonna make you happy, and you gotta start doing the thing that will make you proud. Because the thing that currently makes you happy is almost never the thing that leads you to a long-term path that makes you happy. It's the thing that you do that makes you proud, that even though it sucks and even though it hurts, down the road, happiness is just an accumulation of doing enough of the things that made you proud, because that's where security comes from. That's where self-esteem comes from. That's why fitness is so important, guys. I'm not a fitness coach, and I'm all in on fitness because I believe it is one of my greatest tools for self-esteem. Every single day I wake up and I lift heavy weights, and it makes me feel like I'm stronger. It makes me proud to be me. I had to lean into this yesterday because it was leg day, and I hate leg day. So guys, I have like the most chicken legs you've ever seen in your life. And when I do leg day, I don't understand why you would work out muscles that make it impossible to walk or poop for 5 days. Like, there's two things you have to do to live. It's like walk and poop. And if I can't even sit on my own toilet, like, I don't even know how women do it. You got to sit down every single time. Like, how do you work out? I hate leg day so bad. I like to work out my arms because I grew up being pretty scrawny, and working out my arms makes it look better in my t-shirts. Nobody notices my legs. I'm a guy. Nobody's checking out my legs, right? So that's the reason guys hate leg day, is because nobody's checking out our legs, okay? But yesterday, I used this on myself. I was like, what's going to make you proud? Does it feel good to tell people you complete the whole workout, but you skipped every leg day? Nah, that don't feel good. I don't like to say that. I don't. Now, I make a joke out of it because that's my personality. If I'm ashamed of something, I just make a joke out of it. But in reality, it would make me more proud long term to say, I completed the workout, period. And so all of us, it's a matter of every single day waking up and doing what makes you proud. That's what leads to long term. My favorite word above happiness is fulfillment. Let me decide between happiness and fulfillment, and I will take fulfillment every single time. Because happiness is a current feeling that will go away so fast. Happiness is like freaking roller coaster, right? Happiness can be taken away from you from things on the outside. Like, for instance, if my kids start yelling and screaming at me, happiness, gone. Wake up with a headache, happiness, gone. Anything out here, because happiness is just a feeling. That's all it is. And anything out here can change that feeling. Somebody punched me in the face, happiness gone. But fulfillment is an internal thing that no one else has any control over, just me. Because even if my kids yell and scream at me, I can be proud and fulfilled by the way I reacted. Doesn't mean I'm going to be happy. But I can react in a way that makes me proud. Do I always? Nope, because I'm human. But I can control fulfillment. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is this time factor, because I think this time factor is really important. You guys still with me? You guys still hanging with me? Okay. This time factor, guys, is really, really, really important. And here's why. You are in an industry unlike anything in the world. In my industry, everybody calls themselves a success coach or a branding expert or basically, if you've taken one social media class, now you call yourself a social media expert in my industry, which is really frustrating, okay? But it's really hard to even try to draw up any comparison at all. In your company, it is flashed in front of your face on every single leaderboard, on every single recognition post, on every single national wake-up call. It is a constant temptation to jump into the comparison game. Now, I think recognition is amazing, and I think it is one of the elements of performance. But when you're insecure about your lack of performance, recognition can suck when you see everybody else getting the trophy, right? So here's what I need you to understand about time. This is hard to see because our businesses aren't like our bodies, okay? But I need you to think about this. 2 people come into your challenge group. One of them is 5 pounds overweight. One of them is 100 pounds overweight, okay? Now, Imagine 30 days from now, the girl who is 5 pounds overweight hits her goal weight, and we celebrate. We're like, oh my God, way to go, you hit your goal weight. And the girl who was 100 pounds overweight is pissed. And she's like, I still have 95 pounds to lose. Apparently, this doesn't work for me. Apparently, it only works for the kind of overweight girls. And how stupid would that sound? Notice they both lost 5 pounds. They both saw the exact same results, but for one of them, it got to their goal weight. The other one's still 95 pounds away. This is the hardest thing in the world for Beachbody coaches to understand, because all you have to measure is time. And so you go, well, she signed up 4 years ago and I signed up 4 years ago, and she makes $200,000 a year and I make $200 a week. What's wrong? Maybe this doesn't work for me, is what you start to do. And I need you to understand that with our business, some of us came in 100 pounds overweight. Some of us came in 5 pounds overweight. Some of you came in with 100 pounds of insecurity and emotional issues. I use the words issues. I don't mean that like issues. You get what I'm saying, right? Some of you came in maybe from other things in life that had already given you positive self-esteem, that had already given you some wins. I grew up in sports my whole life. I played like 5 sports. My mindset of work ethic was already set in stone. I didn't need any help with my work ethic at all. And yet, in my first year, I still only made 2 sales because I didn't know anything about networking. I had a huge network of people that I had built up for the music that I played for 10 years, but none of them people were going to buy business from me. Like, I was advertising towards 16 to 19-year-olds who liked emo music. Like, those people aren't hiring me as their life coach. So I had to completely reshift that. So we all come into the business with different strengths, different weaknesses, different pasts, different failures, different positive experiences, different negative experiences. And there's no way in the world you can possibly compare your personal journey to anyone else in the world's. The only thing you have, just like fitness, is your journey. You are fighting your old self, not anyone else. When you wake up every single day to work out, man, if you go look at everybody else's workout pictures first and see everyone else's transformations, it's going to be real hard for you to show up today, isn't it? Because you're just going to feel like you have so far to go and you suck. Man, well, I've been doing this just as long and they got 6-pack abs and I don't. Same with your business, guys. You have to be very, very, very careful. This is a nugget that I use for myself all the time. I use other people's success for motivation, never condemnation. I look at everyone that's having success and I look at that and I see it. I love what Grant Cardone says. He says, every single time someone has success, it's just proof that success exists. And I got to learn to see other people and I got to learn to cheer them on even when it pisses me off. Because I got to realize that's just proof that it does work. And based on what I talked about with equality, if it works for one, it has to work for all. It's just that I might have had 100 pounds to lose, and maybe now I'm down 5 or 10 pounds, but I still got a ways to go. And the number one thing that I saw from running that small group was that even though those girls were doing the right things, they had a lot of self-esteem issues. And they needed me once a week to just ring the bell for them and remind them that they had what it took. To be honest, I don't know that there's anything that I did was that significant for them other than a constant affirmation and reminder of you can do this. And if you take the people doing the right things and give them ongoing affirmation that you can still do this, I got you, let's go, you can do reminders, eventually they hold out long enough to start seeing some of the results and building the self-esteem. But the problem is when you got self-esteem issues, it's also really easy to just go hide. Most of us, when we struggle, we hide from help. We don't go look for help. I've always said that if we just went and asked for help when we needed it, there would be world peace like that. If every human on the world that struggled with some type of negative beliefs or doubt or self-esteem, if we all just went and got help the second we had issues, there would be world peace. None of us would be fighting and shooting each other, because honestly, we probably should have been in a therapy session instead. And if we'd have been in therapy instead of picking up a gun, like, we probably all would have been fine. But the problem is, we run and hide. The worse we are, the more we feel like we should hide from everybody because we're embarrassed. And so what I need you to do is, first of all, give yourself grace. When I signed up, here's what I did. Thankfully, I was smart enough to realize how stupid I was. I said, here's the thing, bro. You suck. Like, hands down, you suck. You don't know what you're doing at all. So don't be stupid enough to think that you're going to have success in the next year or two, because some people go to college for 4 years to learn a craft to start at the bottom. Now, if you really do suck as bad as you say you suck, why in the world would you think you could make 6 figures in the next 12 months? Why would you think you're going to be an overnight success? So I use my insecurity to help me give myself permission for it to take longer. And I actually said, here's the thing. Because you've quit on everything else you've ever done in life, you've always been the person who gets excited, gets all over, oh my God, we're going to do this. And then 2 days later, you're like, oh, I don't know if this is the right thing. And then you like bail out. So this time, we ain't letting that happen again. I'm saying you have 5 years. Talking to myself, I'm giving you permission for 5 years. Put your head down. Do the work J-Max tells you to do. And you are not even allowed to look up for 5 years. And if at the end of 5 years, you look up and realize you still haven't grown, you still aren't making any money, and this isn't working for you, then you have my permission to quit and say for the rest of your life, I gave it what I had, but I just don't have what it takes. But you are not going to be that flake that tries it for 1 or 2 months and then goes around for the rest of your life saying it didn't work. Because for me, I'm going to get real with you to close this up. Had 3 kids. Couldn't hardly pay the bills. Almost got evicted from our apartment a couple times a year. I'd have to call my mom. Mom, can I borrow a couple $100? We're behind again, and you know how it goes. After so many months of being behind on this bill and this bill and this bill, it all adds up. And tax return season, we were always solid. Like, we catch up on all of our bills, tax return. But other than that, we're just always behind. When school season would come around, I would hope that my mom would take my kids shopping for clothes because I didn't have the money to buy them clothes. Thankfully, I had a really sweet mom who lived real close. Otherwise, we'd have been screwed. Constantly checking my bank account before I put gas in my car. I had a 98 Honda Civic. It cost $13 US to fill my whole tank, and I still had to check the bank account to make sure I could even put gas in my car. And I got sick and tired of living this life, but more importantly, got sick and tired of my children having to live this life because I couldn't figure my own shit out. I was costing my children memories because I had created a life for them that was poverty. And here's what I finally said to myself. If you go all in and it doesn't work, I can handle. I'm an honest person, okay? You might not like what I have to say, but I'm honest. Like, I do not lie. I tell it how it is, and sometimes that's to my fault because sometimes I'm too honest. But there's going to come a day that you're either going to have to look your kids in the eyeballs and say, guys, I'm really sorry you had to grow up in poverty, missing birthday parties, never going on vacation. I had opportunities to change it, but I was just too scared to try. I was afraid of what people on Facebook and Instagram thought of me. I was afraid of failure. I was afraid of trying. I was afraid of success and where it might take me. I'm so sorry I had to pass my demons off to you. I didn't care enough about you to face them. And I realized I couldn't live with myself if that's what I had to say. However, even if I put in all of the work for the next 5 years and it still didn't work, I could live with myself if I had to look them in the eyes and say, guys, I'm so sorry I couldn't give you a better life. I literally gave everything I had to try, and apparently I just didn't have what it takes. I can live with that. I can live with telling my kids I was all in. I gave everything I had. I did everything John Maxwell told me to do. I read every single book. I did every single call. I tried every single business plan. And it just so happens that your dad sucks. I could live with that, but I could not live with telling them I didn't have the guts to try. And my whole business has been built on just thinking of the moment of honesty with my kids, of what I was or wasn't willing to do for them. And if you can change that perspective and shift it from, am I afraid of people on Facebook or Instagram? Maybe you are. But am I willing to go look my children in the eyeballs right now and say, hey, sorry, we can't go on any vacations this summer. I was afraid of people on Facebook and Instagram. Changes it just like that. I'm not saying it makes business easy, because business is still hard. We all have self-esteem issues, okay? Business is hard. But when I can shift the focus of who do I care about the most, me and my feelings, and who I'm afraid of, or my kids. And for me, every single day was constantly in my brain. What will you tell your kids? Will you tell them you tried? Or will you tell them you were too chicken? Will you tell them you cared enough about them to go for it anyways? Or will you tell them, sorry, daddy was too afraid? What will you tell your kids? If you can keep that in your focus and your perspective, for me, that was all I needed to show up day after day after day, scared to death every day. Built my entire business on fear. Every single time messaging someone. My name is Josh. I'm on the John Maxwell team. I work with a couple different Beachbody coaches in the network. I was wondering if you'd be interested in a one-on-one with me to see if there's anything I can do to help you grow your business. Still have that specific thing memorized from year 1 and 2 that I probably sent to hundreds of people. Had a joke at one time that there was probably a couple chat threads of Beachbody coaches going around where people were like, who the hell is this Josh Coates guy and why is he messaging me? Found out later that joke was true. There was definitely message threads like that. Who the hell is this guy? I didn't care. I mean, it hurt. It hurt to know there was probably people that thought I had wrong motives. It hurt to know there were probably people talking shit, whatever. But that could never, ever, ever hurt as bad as letting my kids down. Like, I love you guys. I really do. But not more than my kids. I love my clients so much, but you don't even touch the love that I have for my kids. I would run into a burning building for them. I would jump in front of a bullet for them. I would do anything in the world for those kids, and have done a few things like that a couple times because my kids are crazy. But there's nothing in the world I wouldn't do for them. So that's what I call doing my business from a place of conviction instead of a place from motivation. I'm not looking for motivation. I don't need motivation. I drink Energize when I need motivation, but I'm doing my place from a place of conviction. Conviction is, what is the thing in my heart that says I must do this? And my head is going to fight me all the way. It is going to fight every single step of the way. But what I've learned, guys, is if I can listen to my heart long enough and just keep showing up, I start to reprogram my head to be in alignment with my heart. And it gets easier and easier and easier to do the right things because my head finally gets it. My head starts to have the voice of my heart replaying in it over and over and over and over. And now all of a sudden, sometimes you look at people, you're like, man, they make that look easy. How is that so easy? Because they finally gave it enough time to reprogram this guy, And it actually became pretty easy. And I'm not saying business in general is easy. There's still a lot of challenges. But what I'm saying is for us, yeah, post it on social media. It isn't that hard to pour out our guts and craft this amazing story because we've done it a million times now. It's not that hard to walk up on stage and deliver a powerful presentation, even for the introverts, because they've done it a million times now. Don't be tricked into thinking it came naturally easy. We just gave it enough time for it to become easy. Just like your workouts. There once was a time where you had to drag yourself out of bed. You had to take 7 shots of Energize. And now I hope it's your daily routine. I wake up in the morning and I feel weird if I don't work out. I feel like, what the hell happened to, like, I can't operate almost. On rest day, I feel like I got to like pick up some weights and just do something to get my blood flowing. Otherwise, I feel like, what's wrong with today? Oh yeah, it was rest day. No wonder I feel so weird today because it became my new normal. Your business and success will become your new normal when you give it enough time. All right. Bria, that's all I got other than, can I talk about this for 2 seconds? You can get a free copy of my book, F Leadership, if you're in the United States. Sorry, I forgot, Bria. A lot of you are in Canada. However, if you're in Canada, you can go on Amazon, okay? And Amazon, you can buy it for cheaper than what I can ship it to you. So if you're watching the recording, you're in the United States, you can go to joshcoates.com and you can get one for free when you pay for shipping. We only charge the shipping. However, if you're in Canada or the United Kingdom, it costs us like $35 just to ship it to you. And it will take like 3 weeks to get there. If you go on Amazon, it's actually available via Prime. You can have it to your house in 2 days. Amazon's crazy. They print these things on demand for me. Isn't that nuts? Like Amazon has these big printers all around the world. And when you order my book, literally they print it and then have it at your house in 2 days. I'm blown away. So anyways, either way, go get the book. The audiobook will be coming out here in the next week or two. And when the audiobook is out, obviously we won't have to deal with the shipping issue. And I will have that for free on my website. So even if you're, whether you're in Canada, United Kingdom, whatever it is, go to joshcoates.com. And if nothing else, subscribe to my email list and you'll be the first to know when the audiobook is available. I'm also doing a free recruiting training the beginning of next month. You'll get info on all that if you just go subscribe to the email. Okay, Bria, I'm done.
Thank you. I'm so excited. That was honestly, it's so funny because this is not the first time I've obviously heard from you, worked from you, listened from you, any of these things. And I feel more energized than I have about my business, even in a little while. So thank you so much. Especially that last point, that was the piece that really hooked me, that part about your family and really switching that conviction. That was a big piece for me several years ago. So thank you for all you do. This success formula is killer. I feel like it can be applied anywhere. And besides the thank you, I wanted to remind everyone as you're listening to this, whether it's now or later, all of these things that you said, there's always 16 million of them that like really hit home. Take notice of the things that hit home. Write those things down because those are the things that are triggering your story. Those are the things, like you said, when people are like, I don't have a story. Those are the things that obviously impact you. Take those things and pull out your story around those things. Share those around. That's the gift that Josh just gave us today, is he helped you see the things that you feel connected to. So find those things, take notice of those things, and share those things. And get this book, which is what I'm going to do right now because I am very excited about it. And then I will also download the Audible because that's my favorite. Awesome. Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much for everything. And have a wonderful day. Good luck with everything, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.